Hello.
Hi.
Kyla and Rebecca again for a lunchtime chat.
Yay.
We've been having a conversation with each other. We thought we'd turn the camera on about, gosh, it's a few pieces, but it really has to do with choosing to accept adversities and triggers and frustrations and things like that as an opportunity.
Yeah. And like maybe also like how to align with your higher self in the midst of a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Revisiting what you're committed to. And I had a really powerful experience of it myself yesterday that I was just sharing with Rebecca. I'll try to keep it really short, but I came home from a weekend that was about wedding preparation, like girls, guys weekends. My fiance and I split off and we went and did our stuff. And I came home and I was a little I was pretty depleted in some ways. And I came home and I was going to have like 2 or 3 hours by myself. And I thought, oh, this would be so great. I can have some downtime. Anyway, I came home and the house was like a bomb went off, understandably, because there was a bachelor party here this weekend. And I noticed an old way of being just really quickly emerge. Like I didn't even know it was coming on, and suddenly I was really angry. And I knew I was going to be cleaning for at least a couple of hours, and I just got really mad about that and frustrated, and that's not fair, and I'm tired, and all of these things. And at the same time that I was angry, like as soon as I felt it and I felt anger in my body, I go, okay, whoa. Okay, what are you going to do with this? And I noticed for myself that one of the tools I have now is that I'm observing myself as I'm having these feelings and behaviors, and I'm observing myself being mad, and I'm sweeping and I'm cleaning stuff. And we just talked about this a second ago, but the short story is that I basically came back to what I'm committed to. And what I'm committed to, especially in this moment yesterday that I was in, was loving my partner fully and completely when he walks in the door after a crazy weekend that he was exhausted from. And I thought, this is silly. Of course I don't care about the house being messy. Of course I can do this. It's easy for me. I'm going to do it beautifully, and I'm going to be this loving presence when he gets home. And I'm so grateful that I was able to move through that and to do that, because that's what I'm committed to. I'm committed to love. So I got to be that and come back to that really quickly. But that has to do with willingness.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to, first of all, I needed to own that I was being unreasonably, I was getting angry, and there's no reason to get angry. And also be willing to allow that anger, but to bring to the front of my experience the truth, which is that that's not who I am. That's not what I want to be. I want to be joy and love, and I missed him, and I couldn't wait to see him and hear about his weekend. So it was a short period that I was able to get back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the moment you walked in the door, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got cut off, so we're picking back where we left off. So you walked in the door,
mm-hmm.
and it was like,
oh shit.
This. Yeah, so there was this total like, and
yeah. And
so what I want to like take the opportunity to do is to point out why it didn't work for you, like why it was like a big deal, right? Because some people are what you might interpret as a slob, right? Mm-hmm. So they like walk in the door and they go, oh wow, they made a mess, I'm going to bed,
mm-hmm.
and they're like not bothered, right?
Yeah.
But like you walked in the door and it was like,
it was like getting hit in the stomach.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you want me to speak to that?
Well,
or is that just, that's not the point really? It's about
it's not the point. It's actually, it's more, the point is what had it be such a problem,
mm-hmm.
what had it show up is a commitment that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So like what would you call that commitment?
A commitment to, I don't want to go to the word cleanliness. It is cleanliness, but it's also just, I feel more peaceful when my environment is organized and orderly and clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It just feels more peaceful to me.
Yeah. So a peaceful environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my version of a peaceful environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is for you.
Yeah.
Right. That's all that matters. It's what it is for you, a peaceful environment. You walked into a not peaceful environment and you're like, y'all effed up my peaceful environment.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because like when we get like really triggered, right?
Mm-hmm.
We instead of identifying with, oh, I am that peaceful environments are wherever I go, that I create peaceful environments, right? So we shift from creating that to now creating the opposite, right? So you walked in and the experience of reaction happened the moment after you slipped into that opposite, right? And then you can't really like be present to what's available out of the peaceful environment commitment, right? Now it occurs like work and it's unfair and I shouldn't have to, and there's literally like a whole different world of thoughts, feelings, actions, experiences. You know, some people, like a different person, might get really shut down, right? Like they might be like, how could you do this to me? You know, and just like go and cry in a corner. Like one person might do that. Another person might, you know, make it worse. Like just like start throwing stuff around and get really, you know, and then there's you who is like, oh, well, I'm going to do something about it. So I want to ask this question. What if you didn't have a commitment to realigning with yourself?
Then I probably would have been mad when he walked in the door. Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have listened to his stories about what he did. I probably would have been kind of vacant and halfway there. Yeah. And I would have had this agitated feeling inside of me. Yeah. And what I noticed, I think I was sharing with you earlier, is that when I was sort of witnessing myself feeling frustration, which we're talking half an hour at the most from beginning to end that this feeling was there. But that's the good part. But when I was witnessing this feeling in myself, I was also observing it and thinking, okay, this is a really interesting thing that's happening right now. You're about to get married. And of course, on the weekend of his bachelor party, you're getting presented with this opportunity to be with this part of yourself. You know, and I was amused at the same time that I was feeling, you know, a short period of frustration. I was also amused because I was just like, of course this happened. Of course it did. Here's your work, Kyle. This is your work. And so I embraced that. I think that's how I was able to just move through it, so that when he came home half an hour after that, I was just so present with him and full of love and so excited to see him. And it was just like, and then we laughed about it. And I said, yeah, I was kind of mad at you. And then but I got over it. Yeah. And so I think it's just whether we're willing in those moments of being triggered or disappointed or frustration or whatever it is that what we're seeing show up is the opposite of what we're committed to. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. It's if we're willing to sit with that and allow that, and also if we're willing to transcend it. Yeah. Knowing that our peace is on the side of transcending it and not sitting in the shit of it, because there's nothing to be gained there. And it's also an interesting thing, you know, and not easy to admit that less than a decade ago, I would have stayed mad for several days. Yeah. Over something so stupid. Who cares? Right. It's stuff on a table or on a chair, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people who, you know, have the chance to listen to this will identify with that.
Oh,
know?
Yeah.
Like, of course I'd be mad for a few days. Like, what are you talking about? You got over it in 30 minutes. Like, what are you?
Yeah. And I also noticed that one of the things that I wasn't doing, but I noticed this small part of my old self wanting to do was to make it bigger than it was. Right. To make it a bigger thing than it was. And to start making lists of all the, you know, and it was just, it's almost comical, like, to talk about it. Because I'm so in another direction from that now, but like, it's still there. It's like this little part of this small little ego. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, and then let's talk about how it's not fair and you're tired and all these other things that come up, and we try to make it into this. We try to collect evidence to support, you know, what we're committed to. Yeah. And in this case, I was committed to love, so the evidence just sort of washed away, and I was like, there is none. It's bullshit.
I think this is amazing, because it really perfectly illustrates the power of like consciously directed intention and attention. So it's like there's that gut automatic response that is, you know, you walk in, you have this commitment to a peaceful environment, and you see a not peaceful environment, and your attention shifts to the opposite of your commitment, right? So like your attention is actually on the thing that you don't want, and in that moment, you're actually creating the not peaceful environment.
Right. I was just making it worse by getting upset.
and that's what most of us do all the time, is like we see the thing that we don't want, and we focus our attention there. This is like attention is literally a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we direct our creative force.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you like direct your creative force to what you don't want, then you can create what you don't want.
Exactly.
As an experience, and eventually your experience becomes physical reality, and and that's you walked into.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like easy, right? It's like the easiest thing when the circumstances align with like the not what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and this is what I'm really interested in. But then there was a moment for you where you were like, this isn't who I am.
Yeah. And
you intentionally redirected your attention to the commitment, which was having a peaceful environment and being loved. And that's where I'm interested, because there was something that interrupted that whole like negative train of thought. That focus on the negative was interrupted by some bigger commitment that you have, like something that's bigger than that self, than that identity.
Right.
So say something about that.
Yeah, I remember I was in the middle of, putting stuff away and everything, and I thought, I'm feeling in my body, I'm feeling this agitation, and I'm not enjoying cleaning. And I noticed that I could choose to enjoy it instead. And I put things down and I walked outside and I just took a few deep breaths and I thought, okay, I'm committed to love, I'm committed to Toby, I'm committed to a peaceful environment. And I'm committed to enjoying cleaning this because it's going to get cleaned. I'm going to do it. So I get to choose whether I do it with joy and with love or whether I do it with resentment and frustration. And in that moment, I literally just chose joy. And I turned music on and I enjoyed the cleaning. And I made it fun for myself because I get to choose that. And it could be either way. And I really got that it was up to me. Like, I wasn't at the mercy of anything. Like, I just got really present to that. And I go, oh, that's so simple. I can just choose to make this fun. And then choose to be excited that he gets to walk into a clean house. And what a relief that's going to be for him. That's going to be such a nice gift for him.
Oh, my God.
And for me, because then I get to have the evening with him. And it just kind of stacked up into this awesome array of things that I was creating just by choosing to flip my perception.
That is a miracle.
I know, it was great.
That's literally a miracle. And so, a second ago we talked about what, like, there's a whole different world, a whole different reality of like actions, thoughts, beliefs, everything, that comes up when you shift your attention to the negative. But when you consciously choose to say, hey, this isn't who I am and this isn't what I'm committed to, and you take that moment outside and you intentionally recommit yourself to what it is that you are committed to. I'm committed to love. I'm committed to Toby. I'm committed to enjoying, creating this peaceful environment. And you just go, yeah, like that's who I am, and I'm gonna have fun. And then you do that. Now your whole world is different. Like the beliefs and the thoughts and the feelings and everything now realigns with where you directed your attention. Yeah. To the commitments. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's amazing. That's literally, that's like miraculous.
And it's so funny because it feels so easy to talk about it, and it feels like I understand what a gift it is to be able to do that. Yeah. And I also have a memory, because it wasn't that long ago over time, when I did not have the tools to do that. And I think, wow, I just had so much suffering that was not necessary. Yeah. And you can put this over into so many different areas of your life. I mean, really think about that. Like, you could apply this all day long to everything. Yeah. It's
traffic. Oh.
All of it. Like, I'm driving, I'm pissed off because this person cut me off, that person just ran a red light, but am I committed to that, or am I committed to getting from point A to point B safely and peacefully? Yeah.
Guess what? Well, yeah, it's like I get to choose.
And then I could just giggle at the person who just cut me off and be like, okay.
Wow, you're not having a good time in traffic, are you? I'm having a great time. Because that's who I am.
It's good.
Yeah, and you know what I love also is that shift represents a conscious choice to move from being at the effect of the circumstances to being the cause of your reality.
Exactly. That's the shift in I'm going to make this fun instead of I'm going to sit here and do this begrudgingly with attitude and sweat and impatience. It was more like, I don't care. I'll just clean until it's done and I'll play music and I get to do that. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. How fun is that?
It's amazing. Yeah. I'm inspired.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, till next time.
Love
Thanks
you.
for listening.